creature. O hidden love, embracing all in oneness, may each who feels himself as one with thee know he is also one with every other. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Come back. Today's speaker, Sister Suvralina ji, will be presenting her talk on the topic Method to Disseminate Theosophy amongst the youth, which is very relevant topic in present scenario. Now I would like to introduce young and dynamic speaker, Sister Suvralina ji. She is a life member of Theosophical Society since 2003. She is National Lecturer of TS Indian Section and Secretary Delhi Region US, and have been working for holistic and development of children and youth. She has founded a new lodge named Prayas Lodge in 2017. She is the editor of Indian Section quarterly e-newsletter, that is Insight. She is a writer, poet, and Odissi dancer. Recently, she has performed Odissi dance in World Congress 2025 in July, which was organized in Vancouver, Canada. With these words, I invite Sister Suvralina ji for your presentation. Sister, now forum is yours.
Namaste, Sushma ji. Since I've joined from my mobile, I would like to ensure that I'm audible, visible clearly. My screen might not be okay.
Yes, everything okay. Continue.
Okay, thank you. So today I'm going to talk about methods to disseminate theosophy among the youth.
Okay, you are.
And it's a joy for me to reflect today on something which is very urgent and also very inspiring. Maybe we can start with a question. How do we bring the light of theosophy to the youth of today? As we all know, young people, they live in a very different world with overflowing information, various choices, a lot of noise around. Beneath all this, they are always searching, searching for some meaning for life, some identity, some purpose, and somewhere some inner direction also. We know theosophy has its timeless wisdom, and theosophy can offer the youth a good grounding, a better clarity, and definitely an inspiration which will help them. Today, I'm going to talk about few practical methods, some significant theosophical teachings for the youth, and maybe a couple of stories from here and there if I may find those relevant when I start speaking. And also to ponder on some of our senior members, our founders, some spiritual teachers in this TS who would probably illuminate these principles. Now, coming to how do we understand the young mind? Before we actually attempt to teach the youth of today, we must first listen to them. Not just to their words, but probably to their silence. Maybe their restlessness, obviously their questions, and sometimes I think their rebellion. Today's youth are not just rejecting something, they are always rejecting those that they feel are artificial or imposed upon them, or sometimes they feel that these are outdated. So, before we start speaking to the youth, we must understand what actually the youth of today is seeking. So, a couple of things that I noted and I would like to read out those. First was authenticity, the value of genuineness, more than authority. That is what attracts today's youth. And also some experiment or experience over doctrine. They always want to feel transformation, not just hear the concepts. They would always look forward to, did something change in me? Did something change in the being, in my surrounding, within, without? So it's not about just hearing the concepts they're looking forward to, they are experimental. And of course, there is a deep desire, that means a great purpose, probably to know why am I here, why am I doing this, and also they always seek a community. So being young, it has always been in our young bodies. When we are there, we always wanted to have a deep meaning to the friendship, a belongingness, and of course a good mentorship. And all along with this, there is always a seeking of freedom. There could be structures, and they might welcome guidance, but at the same time they would like to have their own freedom of mind to speak, to question, to probably disagree. So coming to authenticity about, is it real? Young people are extremely sensitive to hypocrisy. If something is not very real, very superficial, they may not challenge authority openly, but they can instantly sense whether a speaker is living what she speaks. If the person is saying something and doing something else, the first group that could sense it is the youth group. So they would always ask silently, do you really practice what you say? They would not speak up, but they would somewhere ask the speaker, you are saying something, but do you really practice it? Or they might come up with questions like, you are teaching me, are you also still learning? So we have to bring out that thing that every speaker of the theosophical teachings is also a learner. The person is only sharing, but we all learn. That we have to establish. And sometimes they might also ask, is it okay to be human sometimes than, hello, I think I got stuck up. Okay. So it is okay to be human than always being very hard idealistic. So these are very natural things they might ask. So theosophy is not just spreading through perspection, but it's a honest striving that we have to establish. That everybody in this group, everybody in the society is striving towards perfection, and we all are learners. And then when we speak of karma, compassion, self discipline, so it basically nudges them that yes, something has a practical base out of it. We also have to share with them that this is a new path, everybody's working on it. Sometimes we also struggle, but we are on the path and we are growing. So that honesty, when we share, will build the trust. We cannot just say that everything is perfect around us, we are doing the best thing, so you are only not doing it, being a young member or being a part of the youth. No, it's not like that. So youth are surrounded by definitely many theories. They are academic theories, they are exposed to the political system, philosophical system, they are under peer pressure, but what they lack is their inner experience. So if we just tell them definitions, terminology, abstract things, and we lose them before we begin. So, but if we just do not say about philosophy, science, and everything as a theory, but we begin with a silence, begin with observation, a question. So anytime we're interacting on a topic that is probably new to them, we have to ask them to get into their silence, observe things, and maybe asking questions, the right questions, wrong questions, questions. So, coming to the purpose part of it, as I said, authenticity, then there is this question of it, then there's a purpose. So they have their many anxieties, like there is a career anxiety, there is a social media comparison, there is a pressure, performance pressure, comparison, competition. And sometimes the very basic question you would understand. So they, at times I came across with a very young guy. Uh, he lost his mother at the age of probably 14 years. He's still, after 8 years now, in a 22 years old age group, is still struggling and asking, has my life got any worth? Does it really matter? If everything is going to just go away, why am I here? What is my purpose? So these are practical young people I have met. They ask such questions. Even if you start talking to them about their karmas, the purpose of life, the universal plan, it will not just occur to them. But if we get into the silence, the observation, they listening to their inner thing, coming up with questions, observing their mind, we have to have a little bit of patience with them and help them understand. Because theosophy doesn't offer instant answers, it can give a direction. Like we talk about evolution of life, we talk about soul, we talk about our karmic links. So these are great and profound ideas which have proofs, which have great impact on a seeker's life, but it will go slow with the young people. And also coming to the community part of it, they would keep on asking, do I really belong to this? So maybe they don't feel connected. So they might be hyper connected with many things, but when we come to such kind of a forum wherein we have to tell them basics of things, they might not just belong to that. Maybe they're looking for a different space. Maybe they're looking for people who don't judge them, people who are kind of understanding them, people who would reflect along with them. That's why whenever we are forming a lodge and we are bringing new members, so it is not about just an institution, a process, a prayer, a class, a study, a discussion. Along with that, it has to be a shared inquiry. We all, young and old, sitting together, we are moving in one direction as a team. We are discussing something to reach to something concrete out of all chaos around, making it a directional discussion. This is what they need. They need to belong to that particular group. And sometimes they also, why sometimes? Every time they would ask for a freedom to question, freedom to say no to things which we probably want them to do because they'll take some time. And there is, as we know in theosophy, there is this emphasis on free inquiry. We don't say, no dogma basically, and uh, no authority. You know, these are very important things for our self discipline as well as when we impart these kind of teachings to the younger group. So I'll kind of quote a story here. There was a young monk. He came to Buddha and asked, "What is the meaning of my life?" Buddha did not give him a lecture. He pointed him inward. He said, "Find what opens your heart and share that." This is a very powerful thing for the youth. They do not want a borrowed purpose, they want discovered purpose. And Theosophy helps them discover that. We cannot just enforce something or ask them to do something without understanding. We have to help them discover their purpose, not our purpose, their. Otherwise, it will be we saying something and they doing it. They'll never discover that. And why Theosophy is very relevant in the current scenario for the youth today? Because Theosophy gives us basic answers to the questions like who am I, why I'm here, how do I live life? And I think these are very helpful questions for the youth. In this modern society, if you see, they are just after, passing exams, their marks, scores, certificates. Then there is this job pressure, there is this salary thing. Then, how do I get famous, a popularity? They're doing all these things on social media. They want that attention, and they consider those things as an achievement, because that's what it is happening now. But these are very unstable identities. Theosophy introduces a very liberating idea that we are not the personality alone, we are the consciousness. And it will take time for the youth to understand that. That's why things like reincarnation, evolution, those things would bring dignity to the life of the youth when we help them understand it. That those things which you are not kind of understanding now, but take time and get into that silence, connect to that, probably it will contribute to your growth. So that who are who truly you are, so that personality or something deeper. Then Theosophy also always say that we are all here in this world to unfold. We have our own rhythm, our own lessons of life, our own field of service. So we have to pass it on to the young generation, sharing this with them. This is your journey, not your parents' journey or your elders' journey or your master's journey or the teacher who's teaching you his journey. It's yours. The moment we bring them that purpose, so this is your journey, this is where you started, this is where you want to improve on, you want to empower yourself with such qualities, you want to evolve, we have to show them that, help them with that. And the third aspect of it, like how do I live daily life in such a morally confusing world, when there is sometimes extreme freedom, there is sometimes extreme guilt. So the theosophical ethics which we have been learning, practicing, or kind of trying to impart in our own lives, we cannot just keep it as a slogan. No, because the youth is watching, they are looking at it. How are we doing it? A young student once asked Annie Besant how to deal with confusion in life, and she had simply answered, look for what strengthens your character. If it is weakening you, it's not your path. It's a very clear cut statement. What strengthens your character is your path. So it is like a compass that will show us, is it really giving me some strength, giving strength to my character? So this would probably help a young boy or girl in the relationships, in the basic habits, the friendship, career choices, relationship to money, matter, people, everything, everywhere. Because practically they will lead a life which will bring in some aspects where they would struggle. And if theosophic teachings are imparted to them at the right age in a right manner, they would take right decisions. Now, coming to practical methods, how do we disseminate theosophy among youth? There are certain methods I would be quoting here. Uh, some somewhere I feel that it has to be a kind of not just a sermon, not a lecture, but a story based learning. Like if I recall when we were little kids, we were exposed to a learning system in our early childhood days. We would listen to stories, and then our parents or guardians, or maybe grandparents, or maybe in the schools, they would ask us, what is the moral of the story? So it doesn't just give a straight answer, it engages the young mind to think, to ponder about the story. Oh, this is what I learned. I learned this thing from that old fellow, or I learned this thing from that little child. I learned that little thing from that parrot, that rabbit, be it anyone, any being. But we always learned something from the stories. So probably without giving a sermon or a lecture, if we could create story based learning, something they can relate to, something they can, because stories carry emotion, stories also stay in our memory. So we could probably use the stories of Lord Krishna, Gautama Buddha, our spiritual teachers, um, stories from the life of Annie Besant, J. Krishnamurti, Brother Jinaradasa, anything. Maybe parables from the cultures the child or the youth is exposed to. So when we do storytelling, when we narrate a story and take a pause and let that teaching or maybe the learning other way, the teacher the teaching part and for the learner the learning part, let it absorb, like what did that story awaken in the youth, which part actually stayed with you in your memory. So these are certain questions that will help. So storytelling instead of sermon is one method. The other method could be experimental things, experiencing. Like if we can, start with a basic experience of maybe a 2 to 5 minute silence when the youth or the member who we are getting connected to, he or she would be there, be present, but can reflect on the silence. That's why some self awareness exercises, obviously guided exercises, and after every short exercise, some reflective questions. So instead of conducting camps wherein we just give them lectures, we could make them experience. And while even there in the silence, they could come and share after that what was occurring to them, what was the thought level, were they aware? And it works. I've experimented with little children, it has really worked. They speak up, they say, yes, this is what I heard, this is what my emotion was going up. Then we could probably introduce the theosophical language straightway, coming to say that, guys, this is a theosophic book, you can just read it, it's an amazing book, you could learn, you would get meaning of life. No, it will not just occur to them. So we could engage with them through group discussions, some meditation practices, sometimes some art and music to explore their inner feelings could also help. Or we could also use uh, some modern platforms, like, because they most of the time are online on the internet, they're exposed to social media, so what they see they will believe. So why not their seeing could be changed so that the beliefs could change. So maybe we could create short reels on theosophical concept, maybe a 1 minute wisdom kind of reel, one particular theosophical idea for a daily life on that, maybe a podcast by young members, some question answers. Such kind of sessions could be created, and probably we could create some visuals in simple language with some values and relatable examples, and we could float it online because that is their world now. And also we could create youth circles, like there is a culture of mentor mentee in corporates, in school and colleges. So we could probably try that, youth circles and mentorship, maybe in one circle or 10, 12 youth, where everyone could be heard, seen. you know a smaller group always helps, and where questions could flow naturally, they can talk, and there will be a trust building also. And while we would keep a mentor-mentor relationship there, mentorship has to be more for listening than to speak, sharing experiences without showing a superiority, and inquiring also, and encouraging the youth also to inquire than just believe, so they can ask questions freely. I mean, it's not about, please join the society and just believe in us. No, let them just come and sit and discuss. So it's not lectures, it's mentoring. Another method could be understanding their real life challenges and relating to theosophy. If we could really answer to the youth on Why am I anxious? That's a very good level of anxiety in today's youth. Why am I anxious? Why do I have hurting relationship? Why do I feel lost? Why do I feel low? Some conflicts in their school, college, even young people who have started working, their relationships, the little bit of stress and anxiety, and there is this identity and purpose. It's also at loss. Their career choices, so many things where Theosophy could connect. So probably we could create a list of what is the today's youth's challenge and what Theosophy can offer to solve that. If we could relate to that and create camps around that. And another thing could be if we could, I don't know, like it's not like about distributing leaflets, but more visibility of inspiring stories, like how Madame Blavatsky had the courage to seek truth, or how Annie Besant was so fearless. He was so service oriented. How Krishnamurti had that clarity and that freedom of mind and inquiry, inquisitiveness. Or how Brother Sriram was so silent, simple, or how Brother Jinaradasa's character was so strong, because we have been talking about them. If we could really create some living ideals and then introduce to the youth, these are your role models. This is how the TS was built, and these are people who were gem of personalities, and see like what they gave us to live a simple, courageous, fearless, uh, uh, character building, a freedom of mind kind of a living. And another method could be we could engage with them through projects, not just through lectures. Projects, as in any art form, of a short film they could create, or they could just go and do some service somewhere and then come back, then internalize why I did so. Sometimes the youth forums, youth camps, when we conduct, we do something like we ask them to, um, draw the nature they look around, or give them a theme and they draw something, a poster making, doing a group discussion and then bringing the salient features, and bringing a checklist of daily life, or engaging them in community service. So these are the things we do whenever we organize a camp. But in regular life, if we could, drive such activities, like if we don't ask them to speak about unity of life, but engage them in creating a short film on unity of life. Go and look around, and wherever you see unity of life is happening, just short, shoot that, bring that, write a caption, do some voiceover, or maybe a artwork, or journal something. So some youth related events we could organize, and then only the learning becomes living. And also, out of these methods, whatever I could discuss, whenever we do a youth camp, if we could ask young people to suggest what could really bring Theosophy to connect more young people, or to pass on the core messages, the core learnings of Theosophy to youth, I think we could do some, maybe a survey or a simple questionnaire to understand whenever we are meeting, like maybe in the convention we are meeting in December end, or wherever we are conducting something, we could just ask young people, just write it in a chit and give it to our, it could be a suggestion box or something like that, and let's see what the youth speaks. Because Theosophy, it's a living flame. We must speak youth's language if we really want to disseminate Theosophy to youth. We have to offer experiences, not just theory. And we have to provide them a community, a group. I mean, we have to show that, yes, we are brothers together and we're doing. And there are the seniors of yours who would mentor you. then storytelling, and ensuring every time that it's not dogmas, or we are not just giving an authoritative thing to you. You have to experiment. So we have to show them the relevance of ancient wisdom in modern life, whatever they are looking around. If they could just question, why is it so and so? Why is it not so and so? About their own lives. If they are, in a group of friends, how everybody is so different. In a family, how everybody is so different. So when we engage their mind in such questions, they would come with their answers. Then slowly we will talk about, this is what Theosophy talks about: karmic link, or karmas, or reincarnation, or it's all about perfecting ourselves day by day, because it's an evolution process. We all will evolve. Then gradually we'll open up talking about the mineral world, the animal kingdom, the human kingdom. And I'll tell you what, I think, they would absorb it also pretty well. I mean, today's, the kind of movies they watch, like the time travel, there are series of things that they watch. I mean, if I'm observing youngsters around me, they are actually experimental in nature, by nature. And the kind of stories they love to read, the games they love to play, the movies they love to watch, uh, they they just do not look at emotional things. They also look at the practical approach of everything. This is my observation with young people. They're very practical. So it's better to not just say them emotionally that, see, if your parents are into theosophy, but automatically you have to be there, you have to come to the class, you have to read the books. No, you can't force them. But if we engage with them at a different level, a daily talk as in not lecture, but a conversation. There's a difference between a talk and a conversation. When we converse, when we also ask them, like somebody doesn't like something, why is it so? Let's understand together. Why don't you like it? Is it fear? Is it kind of a phobia? Or is it like you're not habituated to certain things? Every damn thing about them, their food habit, the way they look at the world, they look at the people around them, the basic behavior, the basic character building, whatever the youth is going through. I think we have to play a role in experiencing and experimenting with them than just telling them you have to just do this and that. So there is a good story about the lamp and the flame. Once a teacher said to his young disciple, you do not need to light thousands of lamps. You just have to light one. If it burns brightly, others will come to it. It is not about changing 10,000 youth. If we could create one young mind, if you could really brighten up or enlighten one young mind, automatically the person, when he goes around, his friends, his family, his colleagues would come and question. They would look at his behavior, and those people will be attracted. And for that, whoever is in a mentoring role has to live like that. We have to live theosophy with sincerity, clarity, and compassion. We cannot force them to come to us. They will be drawn to us naturally. So we have to, like like the story of the lamp and the flame. You you have to light just one good lamp, keep it burning. The lamp simply burns. So it will automatically attract more people. And by that only we can, attract more people. If we live theosophy in our speech, in our listening, in our choices, in our behavior, in our connection, in our relationship, everything we do, our decision making. So it's very important. It's not about just disseminating theosophy to young members. In our life, what you do, we have to be observant. So automatically we would create new methods. I just quoted few methods. I'm sure there'll be 100 methods people will talk about when we sit together and brainstorm. But for that, first thing is we have to also regulate our own life. Then only we could be good mentors. When a good mentor is ready, automatically you will create good mentees from the young teen, and you can disseminate theosophic teachings. So we have to protect that flame also. It's not just letting it burn, also protecting that flame. This wisdom, this timeless wisdom theosophy has given us, it's a bright flame, and we have to pass on gently. I remember when I was in school, on every annual sports day, there'll be a captain of the sports team who would carry a huge lamp, and he would run through the city. And that will be the beginning of the uh, sports day. And he will go with the flame a long way, and some other students would follow that person. And the job is to let that flame burn, non-stop burning. So it's not only just carrying that flame, they would also watch over it, that it's not uh, that that the light doesn't go off, keep on going. That is called protecting that flame. So when we protect that, we will pass it on gently, and we don't have to give any force to it, because by the time we protect it and we ensure that young people are coming and joining that flame to make it burn, they would trust its light. So to create that trust, we have to protect that, keep it, keep that flame burning. So the theosophic living, we have to keep living. Then only we can show it as a path to the youngsters. So this is what I could think of how to disseminate theosophy among youth. So there's a big responsibility. We could probably follow any of the methods I could discuss, or maybe we could bring in more methods when we do practical things. But more than disseminating, it's also how do we live life as an example, because if we are ready to disseminate, we have to be ready as a mentor too. That's what I wanted to talk about. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Suvralina ji. Your wonderful ideas on the practical aspect of dissemination theosophy. Now the forum is open for discussion. Participant can ask question, or they can also give their ideas to
Yes, of
disseminate
course.
theosophy.
Yeah, rather we should have a good camp to create ideas and then appoint people to do
Yes,
that mentorship.
yes, yes, yes. Uh, I liked your idea, Suvralina ji. Experiential learning is important than theory-based teaching.
Yeah.
By experiential learning, based teaching. First, I reminded a quotation: "Ki precept, it is said, practice is better than precept." Means showing youth through action, which will be far more effective and convincing, because the action speaks louder than words.
Yeah.
And we are supposed to make concrete plan of action for particular time. Then we should
Mm.
see the outcome achieved of this plan of action. What we have
Exactly.
made plan of action, how much we have successful in this plan. Time
True.
based plan of action.
And we have to ensure that they pick up this habit of learning. Like when we say that even today we are learning on this path, so it's a never ending learning. So that will pep up them. Okay, so maybe I can also, do a continuous learning. Many a times young people
Yes.
stop learning also. Yeah.
Persistent learning.
Yeah, yeah.
And we should also invite their ideas
That's
of
why I
youth.
said we have to
We,
probably create, maybe we'll discuss something around this. And in one camp, it will be only brainstorming of young members, how to bring in new young members and, talk about theosophy to youngsters. We have to have a
because
program
they
around
have
that.
more innovative idea.
Yes,
Because they
yes.
have more innovative idea than us.
And, they would help us create projects also. They
Yes.
themselves will create their own projects and get it done. That's the beauty of it.
Yes.
The energy is there. We have to channelize that.
Yes. Yes. Very true. Vimalji, do you want to say something?
No, nothing to say. I mean, it's a very tough topic because if you look at the history of the Theosophical Society, there was one person who fell into deep trouble because of his ideas on what the youth should be doing in one aspect. And that person was C.W. Leadbeater. If you read the book C.W.L. Speaks, you'll understand what was the history of that whole story. And it was something to do with the youth and the problems of the youth. What I feel is the same thing applies today also, that the problems of the youth today are also like very difficult for us to face ourselves. For example, there's a lot of violence that youth like. They like violent, fast-moving games, violent movies, and the effect that kind of violence has on their mind, on the atmosphere they live in, on their psyche, that's a very detrimental thing. Now, how do you explain and get that, make them understand, which is a very theosophic view thing, this whole business of thought forms and how it affects us. That could be, there are such themes that before we become mentors, we need to analyze what are those themes that are needed for the youth, uh, that is necessary. Just as CWL thought of it, and at that point, 90% of theosophists were against what he was saying. But today, 100 years later, if you read it, it was perfectly right what CWL thought and what he was doing. So it's a very peculiar thing. We have to, it's more than all of these things are right. All of the ideas and all of the things that Lena suggested, a very holistic way of looking at it, not top down lecturing, no, involving them, all that very nice. That's the way forward, of course. Otherwise, the youth will say, bye bye, you go take a walk. I'm not interested. So we have to engage them. But the aspect of what is the things to be taught is not easy to define right now, I feel. That's where the brainstorming is necessary.
Yes, in present synergy, yes.
Anyway, thank you.
Thank you, Vimalji.
I must congratulate Suvralina for a beautiful presentation. I have a discussion recently with President Gohilji, how to make more young members to become serious student of Theosophy. Exactly, you have given a number of points. My request to you, you can prepare a notes on it, and so that we can publish in the Indian Theosophist. Just recently, a few months back, President means Utkal Federation President, with Chinmay Mahapatra, he organized one meeting in Shalawala Women's University. The topic was Theosophy and literature. Maybe Chinmay, Sister Chinmay was vice chancellor there, or she has the capacity to attract lectures or students. Anyway, after the program or seminar was completed, there are 100 young girls, 100 young girls joined Theosophical Society, not blindly. They have gone through the objects of Theosophical Society, and they joined in our TS organization, not only as a members, as a students joined, as a members, but some professors also joined uh, Theosophical Society. Now the question is, how they will be serious. Exactly, you have pointed out number of ways we can create interest. The first thing, the present generation, how they are moving fast with their digital instruments. So that part is sure that we have to be aware of their way of attitude, their working style, their livelihood, what they requires. So that we can think of organizing some program, not only young theosophists, but also the students of, suppose, Basant Kanya Mahavidyalaya. There are many young girls joining Theosophical Society. The manner in which way they are joining is different. But if you can organize some program, not in a, not in a Basant Kanya campus or TS campus in Banaras, but we can take, if president agrees and treasurer agree, we can take, say, about 50 students to Bhavali. So out of 50 students, maybe one or two may be serious. Mahatma in one of our letters said, even out of 1,000, one will be serious is a great thing. But maybe they are not serious. Maybe they will listen for 2-3 days. Other aspect, what you pointed out, they can go to nature, go to different rural areas around Bhavali and do some humanitarian work. Like this, we can not only we can develop in Bhavali, in other parts of India also. That is a good idea you have given. So many people have many ideas. Unless we do that, while the youngs are interested, if they are interested to join, if we can give the scope for their activities, they can be a good instrument for the Theosophical Society or for the movement of Theosophical Society. We should be aware of all these things. Not only we will not say that no, they are not interested. They are young. Why we are talking of young? They are old are also there. But that part we have to look after. Otherwise, what will be the problem for us? There are only lodges. Old member will be becoming older and older, and nobody is there to look after the property, look after the theosophical activities. All these things are there. Thank you. Thank you very much. And my suggestion, I will
Thank you,
discuss
sir.
with you. Once in a month, we should organize. This time, Suvralina, there are others also. We can think of and discuss with Smita Pragyapatra, so that we can organize one Sunday like this program for the youth, so that more youths can join, they can share their thoughts and also what their expectation is from the particularly Theosophical Society. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your contribution and suggestions. Anyone wants to ask something or wants to give any suggestion?
If there is none, we can close.
Oh, okay. Now we will proceed for closing prayer. Asato ma sadgamaya, tamso ma jyotirgamaya, mrityor ma amritam gamaya. From the unreal lead us to the real. From darkness lead us to light. From death lead us to immortality. Sarve bhavantu sukhna. Sarve santu niramaya. Sarve bhadrani pashyantu. Ma kashchit dukbhag bhavet. Shanti, shanti, shanti. Thank you all for joining.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.